So welcome all, and thank you, André Constantino, for being here. You all know André Constantino, otherwise you wouldn't be here. He is the man behind the Decay of Logos, and he works for Amplify Creations, which actually collaborated with us in a previous event, Games for Good, back in May, for which we are thankful. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi everyone. I will make a talk about make the most of a small production team, because we are a small production team, like you will see later. I will talk about some strategies we use it in the production of the game Decay of Logos, but obviously, each case it's a case. Each game is a different case. So don't take like this is the perfect way to manage a small team. It's only our way to cover our problems and try the best for the game. I will start to introduce myself and talk about Amplify Creations, the company behind the game. A small introduction about the game too, so what type of game is, etc. Then I talk about more the meaning of the talk, and then a small conclusion. So, I studied computer science in the University of Porto, and unfortunately I only have one class of computer science, but I already liked games before. So but it was the first time I knew how a game loop works. I had programming language before, but never understood the game loop, the constant game loop. And that class helped me a lot, knowing about computer science and how graphics works. And so, like it says there, I grew up playing with Spectrum. Even there is Mega Drive time, I was playing with Spectrum. So I envy my neighbors, my colleagues, so much top of the line games at the time, and I was playing with Manic Miner and stuff, but it was good, and I knew I have a sort of history of the games since that time. But I was about seven years old. A friend of my parents showed me Doom for the first time, and I was blown away by the immersion of the first person, and the enemies come around, and that was very violent for my age at the time, but yeah. Oh, one trivia. I think the games in Spectrum was monochrome, because the only TV the Spectrum was connected was black and white, and I think about the games being black and white for long years, so it was a bit bad for me, because I think only the consoles have color graphics. So I was very young at the time. After the class, I talk about computer graphics in the University of Porto. I started doing some small side projects of mine, games. I tried a RPG, a small RPG like Diablo, hack and slash. didn't go anywhere because the first game I only I only knew programming. I didn't knew about creating a game, especially an RPG. So I made that. I made some small tests like clone games and stuff. But I encounter like a wall, and I cannot create a own project only made by me. So I discovered SketchUp. SketchUp, I didn't know how to 3D modeling and creating assets for my game. So I decided why not making a horror FPS in my house, in Porto. So I used SketchUp, and I was measuring the walls and the ceiling about. So I create the model in SketchUp. Then I started using Unity at the time, and in about 3 months I published my first game alone in the IndieDB for free. So there is a lot of YouTube. Not at the time. I don't know if you know Markiplier. He played the game, but at the time it was not important like it was today. But yeah, it was cool. A lot of people played the game at the time because it was a time about the Slenderman and the copy games all equal, and my game was more about the exploration, and there is not a lot of jump scares, maybe 2 jump scares in the whole game. So it was more about the tension and discover things. So not the typical like other clones, other Slenderman clones. You pick up 7 letters and then you survive. So many people play it. It was good. It was good for me because it was the first game I worked and published, and it's on the site if you want to play it. It's not very good, but yeah, I made it alone. Then this game was sort of a bridge for the company I work next. It was the Big Moon Studios in Vila Nova de Gaia, and I started working in the Jagged Alliance, doing the Steam integration. At the time, Steam integration was not so easily like it is today, like the achievements unlocked and score leaderboards and stuff. And then I started. The project was near end, so I was only doing the Steam integration. And then I started working in Trap the Day Lockdown, which is an RPG with zombies. I don't know if you know the game. It's already on Steam for launched 2015, I think. Yeah, 2015. And then I worked in other projects on Big Moon Studios. Then Amplify Creations opened an entry for tech departments. And I tried to go for a different type of game development. So I was doing plugins for Unity 3D, and I moved away some sort of the pure game development. But at my spare time, I was working in a project called Decay of Logos, that I was doing my own prototype once again alone, doing some stuff in ZBrush and Blender, not good, but it was enough to make a prototype, so you can play it and see the stuff happening. So the problem wasn't the code, the coding of the game. It was always the art. I can't do art too well like a lot of you. So I worked sometimes in the tech, and then Diogo, the CEO of Amplify Creations, saw the prototype, and he said, "Whoa, that's a cool game. Let's try something bigger." So we managed a team. One of them it's here, Yuri. It's our animator, and then we started the game. It's a long presentation for me. Okay, this is Amplify Creations. I don't know if everyone knows about the company. We made plugins for Unity 3D. We have this product. We have Amplify Texture 2. It's like Megascans. Forgot about the name. John Carmack did for Rage. I think it's Mega Textures. Amplify Color it's a plugin more oriented for color correction, like you see in the movies, and it's mostly the reason the Firewatch, the game, looks that colorful. Amplify Motion it's a motion blur plugin. Amplify Loot Pack, it's more about the loots, the texture loots you can use in Amplify Color. Amplify Bloom is a bloom effect. Occlusion is ambient occlusion effect. And the last one we made, the shader editor. It's like it's a node-based editor for creating shaders. We already have a LUT pack, a simple LUT pack in the Unreal Marketplace, but our main focus is in the Unity Asset Store. This is the sum of the games that have Unity as the home engine and use our plugins. Maybe you know Firewatch, Ghost of a Tale, maybe Recore, that Microsoft exclusive. And Space Pirate Train, it's maybe the best VR game I played so far. The teams are divided. There's the tech team and the full-time developers of Decay of Logos. Diogo Teixeira, our CEO, he works now at Rust. He started and unfortunately didn't finish Hugo Volt, maybe probably the bigger project in Portugal. Ricardo Aguiar worked on League of Legends for a time and Under Siege, the biggest game made here in Portugal. Ricardo Teixeira also works at Hugo Volt. Paul Ping worked on Shrooms. I don't know if you remember that Immersive Douro project. It's like a third-person MMO survival. I think it's only a survival. Mario is our newest member. He worked at research and development. And then, like you see, a small team for a third-person RPG. Sorry, I'm reading my notes. I didn't rehearsal too much this presentation. So Pichel also work in Under Siege. It has more than 10 years of experience in 3D. It knows a lot of low poly models, and have a lot of experience painting the models. Ricardo Tomé worked at RimWorld. I don't know if you remember. He made the artwork you see on Steam. If you open the store page of RimWorld, that's the work of him. And Yuri, you can talk to him after. It's our animator, and yeah. It worked at Battleship. So, what is Decay of Logos? It's a third-person RPG that have a top focus on relationship build-up with your companion, and focus also in exploration and combat, resource management, because you have a very little inventory. I will talk about that later. It has puzzles, and it is a semi-open world, like I like to call, because it's not an open world like Skyrim or GTA. So you cannot climb mountains and go everywhere you want, but you can start at one point of the game, like the start point of the game, go to the end, and then go back. So there is freedom on movement, but not that type of open world freedom. The influence and inspirations of the game is clearly Dark Souls and the Legend of Zelda series, the third-person ones. And like you must know, we have an elk, it's your companion, and a girl. And basically, the Mononoke Hime film of Studio Ghibli was one of the starting point for the build-up of the story of the game and the gameplay of the game. It was a major inspiration about the relationship about the Yaku and the main character of the Princess Mononoke. Not. Yeah, the guy. Ashitaka, yeah, Ashitaka and Yaku. So that type of relationship. But with the combat of Dark Souls and the puzzles of Legend of Zelda and stuff. We have already some pieces of lore that are based on tales and European folklore, so that's why we have that. So the gameplay, like I said before, is based on the Dark Souls. So you have the lock-on targeting. You can roll, you can attack, you can parry attacks, you can defend, and also you can play without locking on the target. So you can free movement again around the enemy and never lock on. But yeah, it's a bit more difficult to play. But yeah, it depends on the type of player. Weapon types. Like I said before, we limited some stuff like the inventory and the type of weapons you can have at the same time. So there is not like you see in Call of Duty, you have 3 bazookas, two machine guns, and 30 pistols. So everything you have with you can see on the player. So if you have a sword and a bow and the 3 potions, you literally can see the 3 potions around the belt, the bow in the back, and the sword in the side. Also, like I said before, it's a heavily inspired gameplay of the Dark Souls series. You have the typical backstab that everyone that played Dark Souls once in a time know about backstabs. So we changed it a little the logic about the backstab. So you need to have a specific weapon for backstabbing enemies, and you can only backstab an enemy if you go near them, near the enemy, like sort of a stealth mode. So the enemy cannot see you, and if you approach to the back of the enemy, you can perform the backstab. We have a mechanic called dynamic drops that basically, do you remember playing like Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and you have less art, and then you go to the grass and you cut the grass, and if you have basically 1-2 hearts, the probability to instantiate an art was greater if you have less art. And this is basically the same stuff. So if you haven't some potions in your belt, the probability that an enemy could drop the potion is higher if you already have one. And if you don't have a weapon equipped, so you have only the bare fists, the probability of dropping a simple weapon, not a great weapon, but a weapon like a simple sword or a simple axe, it's greater. And also depends on the level of the enemy. So if you advance a lot in the game and then go back and try to loot weaker enemies, you only have some potions or some arrows. So the big items, or the big items rewards from enemy drops, it's only interesting. It's only advantage if you go to higher enemy ranks than you, of course. Like I said before, the one of the main focuses it's the relationship build-up. Sorry, the GIF was slowing down. So in Decay of Logos, you have a co-op puzzle solving. When I say co-op, it's about the girl and the elk you see in there. So you have to solve puzzles together. So there is the elk is not only a simple companion. So you can use the elk to store some other items like weapons and potions. Like I said, the inventory is very limited. So if you go, for example, if you go to a tower alone, because the elk cannot climb the tower, and you see, oh, I have one or two health potions. So maybe I go back to elk and put the potions that are in elk on me, and then go forward. So like I said, it's more about the resource management. Is not like you see in Witcher. So you have your inventory with a lot of items, and you are always picking up, or oh, you are overburdened and you have to drop the items and stuff. So it's more about the items you carry with you, and if you go alone to some places, what items you carry with you. Like I said, the relationship build up, it's more visible in the elk in combat. So in the beginning, the elk is very afraid. So if he has an enemy near, he runs away. But while you progress in the game, the elk will defend you, not killing the enemies, but if you are in a situation that is 1 versus 2, maybe he appears and he pushes away one of the enemies, and then it's more simple for the player to tackle one enemy. Like, once again, the inventory, it's very limited. Like I said, 5 potion slots, 1 right weapon, 1 two-handed or shields. Yeah, you can have shields, but you have to once again, the example of I have a bow, but I want a shield, but I don't want to lose my shield. So I put the shields with the elk, and I start playing with the bow. The elk has a more robust inventory, but it's not like an enormous inventory. One of other mechanics we have, it's the respawns. It's a little like the Dark Souls mechanic. So if you die at one place, you reborn on the last bonfire. In our case, is the last camp or shrine you visited. But the difference between the camps and the shrines, that while you're playing and you receive damage, your stats are going down a little. The stats you see there. So if you receive damage, your defense will go a little down, your strength goes a little down, and if you kill an enemy, they go up automatically. Like I said in here, the progress is automatic, and each action increases stats. So if you solve all the small puzzles and open all the hidden chests, your stats will increase. Like if you solve a hard puzzle, your intelligence can go up. Returning to respawns, one difference between camps and shrines, it's that while your defenses are getting too low, you can sleep on the camps, really sleep, so you can sleep and recover all the stats. But there is a catch, you can be ambushed during night, so you wake up at the night and there is enemies of that type, of the enemy types of that zone, and if you die, you recover some of the stats, but not the total stats. But if you kill all of the enemies, you recover full stats. Or if you have lucky, you don't be ambushed during night, you recover all the stats. So I will show you a little trailer we made for PAX East last March. We tried it's a temp music, and the areas don't have the perfect illumination we are targeting, but it's sort of an idea we made for the game. This was a small trailer we made for PAX. Sorry. So, let's start with the real presentation. Like the title of the presentation, it's a project for a very small team. And like I said, sometimes less is more. Is more about you have to pinpoint the stuff that real matters for the game. Like if you want a bigger game but with soulless, it's much better if you have a less greater game, but with a lot of small nuance and a consistent story and small details that a type of exploration player notice, and he remembers all the time that small things the developer puts in the game. So we are targeting more. The game is not small, but it's not big like. It's much smaller than Skyrim. Skyrim in terms of area, of course, but it's more comparable with the DLC of maybe Bloodborne. The DLC of Bloodborne, the size of only the DLC, it's maybe more around that. I have a plan. So, in the beginning, I started the game alone, like I said, at my spare time, and I had the crazy idea of maybe making this game alone. So it was absurd, but I created the story like a modular story. So I defined the end of the game, what happens in the end of the game, and then I had some models I could eliminate from the game, but maintain the main story, and the main story it's not changed. So we have this plan since the beginning. So unfortunately we have to cut about 1/3 of the game because of the first plan was too big for the team. So we cut about 1/3 of the game, but like I said before, the story maintains, the core points of the story maintains, and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Small team, but we have multi-area experts. So, for example, Yuri, it's our animator, but it has a background in the composing. So it helps a lot in when normally our workflow it's about I do the level design of the game, and but some points, some entries are so important that I ask Yuri. Sorry, it's Gmail. I ask Yuri about some composition of certain rocks or items that are that. For example, if you want the player to go to the left without a zebra crossing telling you, oh, go left, maybe you can work with some visual indicators of the direction you have to make. So a tower that you can see in some corridor, or the direction of the rock that's sort of pointing that direction. So Yuri helps in some places in there and have his strong opinion about that. Small team needs communication. Unfortunately, Yuri once again works remotely and sometimes there is some not so fluent communication because it's text-based and some stuff are lost in translation. So. But with the core team at Amplify, we tried. And there is a technical doubt about some, maybe, for example, a 3D model that maybe needs some lots. The Tomeo or Pichel talk to me because we are side by side, and you figure out a way to try the less work way to do something. So I think everyone in the team are a bit lazy. So especially me, because I don't want to do the same thing more than 2 times. So I tried my best to do the things or predict the future iteration, sorry, ahead of time. So I will talk about that. Sorry, I'm losing myself in the presentation, but I will talk about that in the future. Learn for the best, because no one knows everything, so we try to consult GDC talks or the GDC videos or Gamma Sutra, and we have the luck to have experienced workers with us with more than 10 years, and then they try to explain if anyone has a doubt about something technical. Normally there is a person who knows how to fix that, so it's easy for us. It's all about love on small details. It's like I said before, small details in the game, or Easter eggs, or details about the lore of the game. I think everyone that is a gamer loves that and explores. And if you go to a dungeon and there isn't a chest, but there is something who could contribute to the story, you like it. So we try that type of small details. This is some technical targets and trivia we made for the game since the beginning, since the prototype. And in the beginning, right before I stopped working at the plugins and started working full-time on Decay of Logos, I thought the visual of the prototype, like I said, was made by me, so it was horrible. But it was tending more realistic type of artwork. So we try to. I said maybe a different art style. It's more appropriate to our game. At the time, there is no Breath of the Wild Zelda, no Rhyme, no that's a lot of games that are coming out today that has a bit of this type of artwork, the semi-cartoon artwork. So at the time I think, oh, that's maybe a new thing. But yeah, like we say, most of the games coming out today have a little bit of this type of cartoonish art style. But one of the main reasons I decided to change the artwork was about the time you take to make something, some cartoon thing, and then try to make a ultra realistic thing. So made a rock with low poly and not much detail. It's far fast and easier to do than a full 8K texture rock with a lot of details and a lot of small things. That needs a team much bigger, and so that was one of the main reasons. We are targeting a 350 trees top. So in the image you see on the back, it's more about 200 trees and maybe 100 Drockles. Other thing I like in this type of games was you have no loading screens. So like I said earlier, you can go to the end of the game and then go back, and there is no loading screens. It's common today, but yeah. We try to use all our Amplify tech. And like I said before, the end of the story was decided at the time of the prototype. We are targeting a 60 FPS, 1080p on Xbox One, and if the game let's hope, launches on Switch. Unfortunately, maybe 30 FPS at 7020p. Okay, know your team. I talked about the composition background of Yuri earlier, but one important thing is each team member is very good at one thing in specific. Like, for example, Ricardo Tomé has a architecture background. Sorry, I can't say architect. Fuck it. Arch. I will say arch. So Tomé has a background on arch. So, like you see in that house, it was completely created by him. The style with some points. So we have, like I said, European folklore influences. So we pick some Alentejo houses, and then try some Nordic stuff on the. This type of arch. It's the present one. So we have three types of arch in our game. You have the ancestors one, that are the ruins. I will show later. We have the present arch, and then you have the royal arch. It's for the king and stuff. Okay. Like I said, reach them. So if you I will use your example again, Yuri. So if Yuri has a composition background, and I have a little of difficulty to build up a level, I reach them. So, or I have Tomé, for example. Tomé reads a lot of books, and when I was rewriting the story and the plot of the game, there is some plot holes, and with the constant reading of books, you have more. You can find more easily some plot holes. There is no space for egos, so everyone that started the game alone and he thinks, oh, this is my idea, I have to make this game by my own rules, and you never step back, it's bad for the game. So everyone on the team or everyone that sees the game maybe has a better idea than you. So if it is in the same page of the game, so it fits all right in the story of the game, it fits all right on the lore, if it's all right on the pace, on the feeling of the game, it's okay to cut your initial idea and use one of the team members or other people ideas. Other thing, I think, in my opinion, I love the Dark Souls series. I played all the games much times I should, like 8 times Dark Souls 2. It's stupid. No one's play 8 times Dark Souls 2. So, but I think it's important for the team to like this type of game, to like. In this case, like RPGs and like the lore of the game and like the influence that created the game. I'm stating like the common workflows for the biggest games, small games, whatever, the present workflows. So it's very common to build up models for your level, but in our case we tried to have too much models, so you can build maybe all of the ancient ruins along the game, temples, dungeon models, and also the world is modular. So you can see here. Can you see the mouse pointer? Okay, this is maybe the start of the game, and we showed it at the Lisbon Games Week last year. And now I think we go here. This is a swamp. So, but inside of this zone there is a lot of other small zones that helps the building of the level. So maybe you can have 3 people working on the swamp level because the scenes are divided so much, so it's easier. So I work in this zone, and the other team member works on that zone. They are neighbors, but unfortunately Unity engine don't allow to multi-scene editing without a plugin or whatever, depending on third-party level editors. So in the beginning I was forced to do this type of divisions, but in the long time it's easier to edit each part of the game. The dungeon models were built with these models you see here, and it's a new thing we added not a long time ago, because I think that there is not so small dungeons around the game. So we made simple models. Dungeons like a corridor, bifurcation, an elevator for vertical level design, and you can build a very fast dungeons with that maybe five models we have. That could also be used like a procedural gen for dungeons, because it's more limited because you have a corridor, a bifurcation, and an elevator, so it's not like walls, but it helps to add more places for example, custom encounters with mini-bosses that you can encounter in maybe New Game Plus. You're playing the game for the second time, and you go to a dungeon that you thought, oh, there is only a chest in this dungeon, but with the New Game Plus, we put a mini-boss there. So there is some surprises, and maybe the dungeon is not at the same position that was in the first new game. Less is more. Like you already noticed, the team the art team, the 3D art team it's Tomé and Pichel, and normally the Pichel is made the characters, and Tomé made the concept art of the cards previously, and then make the models and other props. Pichel also do that type of props, but it's more like that division of work. And one thing I thought about it, we don't have much time to make maybe 3 types of enemies per zone. So I tried, why not one type of enemy that has a dynamic armor appearance. So each time you die, you encounter an enemy that, for example, the wood enemy. At the first encounter, you can encounter him with a lot of armors and only a sword. And for example, you die. You go back. You go to the checkpoint. You go back to the same enemy, and maybe it has less armor and the shield, for example. There is a small dynamic scene once the game is restarted. there is also a small size of change of size of each enemy. So the point of this is not making all the enemies look the same. I talk about the armor. If the enemy has more armor, it has more defense, and yeah, it's been a bit a pain to balance that, but it's okay for now. Other thing, one of my initial ideas is when you build up a new enemy. I talked to Pichel and to May and said, remember the helmet must be worn by the girl too. So when you build that soldier, all the armor set you see in the enemy could be picked up in the random loots or chests, and the player can use it. So when you make an enemy, you make the enemy and a lot of items for the player. It's one of our strategies. And there is always that feeling that you see an enemy with a cool weapon, and then you try to kill it, and then, oh, I want that weapon that it has. And some games never happen. The weapon never appears, and you cannot use that. So, workflows. We tried a workflow in the beginning that used some painting directly in another program. It was Mari. I don't know if you know that. You have to export the mesh and then paint in the software. And the iteration, small changes in the terrain painting was a pain. So we tried a different thing in the pipeline of terrains, only terrains. So it misses two passes here. I started with a blocking scene, more block than this first one, and then in this case, to pick up the blocking, made a rough blocking more approximate to the real deal. Then he sculpts in ZBrush, then do a decimator, and then we started using vertex paint for the terrain. So you can put all the props, in-game props, in the editor, and then you can paint around them and look much better than the first workflow. So it's completely normal. We try it in game development. You try some stuff, they fail. You try another thing, but in our case, we tried the faster one because there is no much time to do some big iterations and tryings. Try a lot of tools, plugins, and stuff that, for example, we use a jiggly bones dynamic, so for airs and stuff, and for example, Yuri has a lot of less work using that. So if, like, for example, the girl has the ponytail, and if Yuri has to animate not only the body but also that additional parts, it makes a lot of sense using some sort of tool that cuts the process of animating that small details. You have less control on the feeling, but overall it's much faster. So Yuri only has to have in count the movement of the player, and then the jiggly bones go after him. Always, always take, always remember the scope of the game. So I think everyone have great ideas and big ideas, and it's a bit hard to cut some that bigger ideas. Like you see on the stuff on the oh, sorry. If you see, if you can see this was a sketch from Yuri about boss ideas, and in the beginning I was thinking about maybe five attacks, I think, and Yuri made what, 10, 15. Yeah, it's because if there was maybe 2 animators and 2 programmers, it was very possible. But I was not only working on the animation integration and the logic behind it. So I have unfortunately to cut some of their cool ideas. But yeah, it's once again, less is better in some cases.
Yeah, but we added some.
Yeah. I push myself to make some of his ideas. So for conclusion, it's obvious. Each game is a case. Each team has its own members. Each team has his own strength. So this is only the example of Decay. So pinpoint the topics, know which team member is good at. Always remember the scope of the game and the team size. Reuse your assets, not repeatedly, but go a bit smart about reusing some items, some props. Try to find workflows that save the time of the production. I know this is very difficult, but with a little of the experience, you know about some workflows that will not work on the long term. Stay focused and keep the plan. So yeah, you have to remember the beginning of the game and the project, and remember the limitations. Always remember the scope and keep on working. So thank you, and sorry for the lazy presentation and my English, and sorry. You can follow our weekly devlog in here. We post every week. Sometimes there is only art related posts, but I try to make some more technical stuff in there.
Let's thank André for his talk. So I hope André is willing to answer a few questions.
Yeah.
So
I try my
if
best.
anybody has any questions?
Can I?
Yeah.
So, for someone who's going to try to make its own first game, what are your suggestions? Because you always want to do the big thing.
Yeah,
But it's not
that's a
realistic.
common mistake. Everyone made it. I don't know. Maybe start with a very little or clone project, or a very little small idea you have, and you have to add the notion of I can do this. Maybe that's my best advice. So you have to for example, if you use Unreal or Unity, that comes with a first-person controller. So maybe it's easier to make a first-person game, a small adventure first-person game, because you don't have to bother about controllers, for example.
Okay. Thank you.
So what did the prototype you made alone contain, and how much of the story that you had written did it represent?
The prototype had the girl you control, had the elk, had I think the first chapter. The game is not divided by chapters on the consumer side, but is divided in chapters for us. So this is the first chapter, this is the second chapter. So I have the first chapter mounted on blocking. You can go around, you can kill enemies in there, but there is no dungeons, no items to pick up. In the end of the prototype. In the beginning, there is some sort of basic mechanics, so you can shoot arrows, you can combat enemies, you can solve some puzzles. I think I didn't have the co-op puzzle solving, but small puzzles I already have. I think I can show you the prototype.
So it was just representative of game mechanics?
Yeah. But the story was written on paper, so I can show you. Maybe in my channel. I was so. Vergonha. I was so ashamed of the prototype, so I put it private. And there is the problem of no. Some oh yeah. So some press do a Google search about the game, and one of the first hits was that prototype. And no, there is the custom and oh sorry. Sorry. It's okay. Now I will delete the TeamViewer next. One second. I think I have the gameplay, yeah. Hello? Okay, that's cool. Sorry, I can only show in this type of, oh, okay. Ah, fuck you. Yeah, I made the animations too. You can see, top-notch animations. And there is some things. You have a simple interior. Some free animations I use. But yeah, the story was, especially the end was, especially the end was already defined. And I did some backtrack writing, so I started in the end, and then I was writing to the beginning. So some pieces of history maintained, and minor plot holes and stuff. Yeah, okay. You can see chess and stuff. That's the prototype. Burn it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so knowing this by experience, even running a small studio tends to get hard. It is a hard affair, even if it's like 3 or 4 people. How are you guys funding this project?
Funding?
Yeah.
It's the plugins. The plugins.
Okay, so you actually develop the tools first and put them on sale in the Unity Asset Store, and then the returns that you make from that allow you to do the demos.
Yeah. Basically, we are the Decay of Logos team is the money grabber of Amplify.
Yeah. Okay.
For now.
So how large is the team? How large is the team?
The Amplify team?
No, the Decay of Logos.
Oh, it's 4 people.
Yeah. Could you have done it without the support of the rest of the team?
The rest of the team helps in some points of the production. Like maybe I have a low-level doubt about graphics. I usually ask or Diogo or Ricardo, but they do not work on the game. They work on the plugins alone. But the tech team, it's like I show in the other slide. They are five at the tech team and 4 on the Decay of Logos team full time.
Are you using any procedural generation tools for environments or for any type of optimizations?
For type of optimizations, maybe we are considering using Simplygon. It's about creating load for some props because it helps and it saves a lot of time. Because we are making our Ricardo from the tech team helps in making some loads for characters and props. But procedural generation, no.
You should maybe look at a tool called Dungeon Architect.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing, and if you are doing dungeons, either exterior or interior, it just rapidly generates them and saves that step of creating them by hand.
The only problem I see there in there it's the art we use, the ancestor art. So if you can put some of the models we made in that tool and then generate a dungeon, it's cool.
Hey, thanks for the presentation. What's your approach on loading and managing the world chunks?
Sorry.
The world chunks, like the different parts of the world.
Oh,
What's your approach on like managing different chunks?
That's a whole presentation about that. The streaming logic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Old presentation. You can talk to me
That's
later.
on YouTube. Is
Sorry?
that on YouTube, the old presentation?
Sorry? It's a whole new presentation about talking only about that.
Okay.
But you can talk to me later, and I do some insights about that.
Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering, because you were initially a one-man crew on the whole team, were you originally skeptical on getting other team members in? And if so, how did you make that leap from the one-man band to the Amplify Creations that you are today?
In case of Amplify Creations, I started working at Amplify in the tech, like I said, and then Diogo looked at the game and there is a team for you. You can lead the team and make the game real. I don't think I answered your question.
So it was just kind of, here's a game, we've got a team for you, sorted. would get it on, or?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, my accent's a bit. So you found a team from Amplify Creations, and then you were.
No, Amplify found the team. Yeah, I'm poor.
Oh, right. Oh,
Thank you.
that's all right.
I have three little questions, if I may. You didn't talk about the audio at all?
About
Audio.
music.
Sound.
Music.
Who takes care of that?
Yeah, music.
Sound effects?
There is no ambient music in our game. Only small hints when you reach some parts of the game, more important parts, and boss battles have music. Oh, and
what was your approach to that?
sound design. Yeah, I have a friend who helps. But yeah, we are not confident on the current state of audio. So we have you are for you work on the sound.
I'm a one-man show, so yeah.
Okay, so I like a lot sound, and I implemented some sort of occlusion to audio. So if there is a sound behind that wall, you can hear it. Yeah, not only that, the occlusion. So you cannot hear so defined the small details. Yeah, cool.
What about the game duration, the gameplay? How long does
Gameplay?
it take? What do you aim for? Like an hour, 2 hours?
We are aiming for about 15 hours.
Okay, cool.
For the first play. There is, like I said, the New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus have different encounters and some things on different places, and we have like sort of missing quests. It's not like a typical quest. So if you miss in the beginning, if you miss talking with this NPC that was hidden, you cannot go back. Okay, you can go back, but the NPC isn't there, so you have to play again the game to unlock that type of encounters.
How linear is the game?
The starting point of the game it's basically linear, and then you reach a central hub, like a village, and then you can choose wherever you want to go.
Okay.
It's like Firelink Shrine from the Dark Souls. Have you played it? It's like that.
So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Again.